Honourable Member for Edmonton-Meadowlark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm honoured to stand today and participate in the Committee of the Whole debate on Bill 206, the School Enhancement Protection of Students and Teachers Amendment Act 2009. And first of all, Mr. Chairman, I would like to thank the sponsor of this bill, the Honourable Member of Calgary-Fish Creek, who has worked hard to bring this legislation forward. And Mr. Chairman, just the fact that we're having this conversation, I really wish that we didn't have to talk about this. I'll tell you why. The number one cause of death for young Albertans and young Canadians under the age of 44 is suicide. And not only suicide, we have 60 to maybe 100,000 of our young people seeking mental health services every year. Young women attempt suicide 3 times more often than young men. Young men complete the act of suicide 3 times more often than the young women. Usually they try harsher methods, more violent methods. And Mr. Speaker, this is a number despite what we have done to deal with mental health issues over the decades. Despite what we have done, this number has not come down. The causes of children's mental health issues are multiple and many. One of the biggest difficult times in a young person's life, especially a teenage person's life, is those vulnerable teenage years and the years leading up to those years. And working families go through difficult times. One of the most difficult times for hard-working families is what happens to the children when they leave their home. Most of the time, they spend in school or in the community with their friends. Now, bullying is an issue that is very important, because school is a place where you should come to learn and grow and to aspire to greater heights. But when you have to go to school and worry about whether you're going to get a black eye or get your nose broken and constantly be threatened, the last thing young people want to do, or the last thing that they're able to do, is concentrate on their studies and on the task at hand, which is to learn and to gain knowledge, when really they have to wonder what's the safest way to get home, because they want to know if the bully's going to be on this route to home or that route to home, or whether they can eat their lunch inside or outside safely. Now, I believe there has been a lot of good work to address this issue. However, I do believe that there's more work to be done. Now, this very important bill, Mr. Chairman, would protect not only students and teachers, but also help to ensure that the schools are as safe as possible, making certain that weapons, drugs and bullying do not have a place in our schools. In our era, Mr. Chairman, it was just bullying. Now, we're talking about weapons and drugs. Growing up, I confess to being bullied when I was young, but weapons and drugs weren't an issue in our school at that time. And my children are teenagers in school right now, and it concerns me that my children have to possibly contend, with somebody bringing a weapon to school. The schools must be safe in order to foster an environment of learning. Bill 206 intends to enhance this safety by providing school staff, administration and law enforcement with the tools and the ability to effectively manage situations that involve weapons, drug paraphernalia and bullying. Specifically, I would like to address the procedures that educators and law enforcement can take when there is a contravention of this Act as described in Section 23.1. Mr. Chairman, it's vital that proper guidelines are established and that a procedure is in place to deal with bullying, weapons and drug-related infractions. In the real world, when our young people become adults, these are criminal acts. If anyone does this in the real world, you would be going to jail and be going to court. The first part of Section 23.1 outlines the procedures for teachers to take after becoming aware of bullying. Mr. Chairman, the teachers are the ones who know the students best and are often the first line of support for students. Also, they thoroughly understand how bullying can negatively affect not only particular students, but an entire learning environment. Teachers know that these kinds of aggressive and threatening behaviors can render a learning environment very toxic. This bill specifies that if a teacher becomes aware that a student may be involved in bullying, that the teacher must advise the principal, who ultimately in that environment is responsible for the environment of that whole school. This first step sets out a clear reporting procedure for notification so that teachers will know who to consult upon becoming aware of bullying situations. In addition, this bill also gives direction for principals who are made aware of bullying. Under Section 23.1, it is stated that once a principal becomes aware that a student may be involved in bullying, that he or she must consult with the school board, thereby ensuring their awareness, and may, at his or her discretion, consult with the peace officer. This is a crucial part, Mr. Chairman. It's at their discretion. These procedures provide flexibility in handling varying bullying situations. If a bullying situation is deemed serious enough to involve law enforcement, this section permits a principal to do so. This bill also sets out procedures for how a peace officer may go about dealing with the situation. It is clarified under Section 23.1 that if the peace officer, after having been consulted by a principal, believes that the student has been involved in a bullying situation that contravene the Act, the principal and the peace officer must determine an educational measures program for the student to participate in. Mr. Chairman, this section strikes a balance that ensures school principals and boards are aware of instances of bullying, while also providing them with additional tools so that they can use to manage a situation when it is merited. These educational measures programs can take many forms, such as counseling or therapy. Presently, schools are predominantly using school suspension as a means of addressing bullying behavior. Mr. Chairman, many teachers and educators would state and tell you that suspensions and expulsions may not necessarily be a suitable consequence to help the offending youth in all situations. This bill recognizes the complexity of bullying situations and provides protocols and direction to school administration that allows them to effectively address and manage these issues. Furthermore, Section 23.1 of this bill directs a principal to advise school boards of any direction that they have given. Therefore, this bill continues to involve the entire school system, from the teacher to the principal, the school resource officer, and the school board. Mr. Chairman, Bill 206 works to assist schools by providing them both direction for managing bullying situations, as well as providing additional tools in dealing with youth involved in committing acts of bullying. With the passage of this bill, I believe that learning environments in Alberta schools would benefit. In a world where silent education can assist in economic prosperity, it's imperative that all students receive the best education possible. Mr. Speaker, I'd also like to speak on behalf of the bully. Hurting people usually hurt people. These bullies are young people. They themselves have many issues, which may be an issue at home, maybe an issue with a dysfunctional home environment. The person doing the bullying may have an emotional or mental health issue. And part of this is in addressing getting the bully some help. After all, even the young people doing the bullying are still our children. And I think we need to take a balanced approach, not only to protect one group of children, but also to help another group of children. And I believe these measures are not here to punish the kids, really to get them some help. Because at the end of the day, Mr. Speaker, all evidence points to the fact that those who bully when they're young end up bullying when they're old. And when they become adults, many of these bullies end up having many visits with the judicial system and with the penal system. And I can say firsthand, as an inner-city emergency doctor, I've seen a lot of violence and the end result of a lot of violence. Mr. Speaker, I think this will go a long way in ensuring that our educational system can be the best in the world, and I thank the honourable member from Calgary-Fish Creek for introducing this bill. Thank you.